Okay, let's unpack this. We've got a deep dive here looking at a user assessment of Fluently AI. It's one of those AI language tutors. And the mission for you listening is pretty simple.
Mhm.
Cut through the noise. Are these tools, actually a good shortcut for getting better at speaking language, especially if you want to sound natural?
Right. And what's really fascinating here, I think, is that classic tension you get with this kind of tech. You have the promise of this super patient, almost human sounding AI tutor
Mhm.
versus, well, what's it actually like to use it day to day? Can it really do what a human tutor does, or maybe even more?
Exactly. And the source we looked at suggests the core claim is, well, pretty transformative. It's supposed to offer realistic conversation practice, respond like a person would,
And it's
contextually.
always there, right? 24/7 tutors in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly. But let's get into the nuts and bolts a bit. The report mentions features that seem uh, genuinely a step up from your standard language app.
Definitely. One thing that jumped out was the scenario selection. It's not just random chats. You can choose specific things like getting through an airport emergency or, importantly, practicing for a job interview.
Okay, that's specific.
Very. And it corrects pronunciation and grammar in real time. But honestly, that's not even the most interesting part.
Oh, so what's the big breakthrough then?
It's the kind of feedback it gives. So yeah, it corrects your grammar, your pronunciation, but it also gives you feedback on your tone.
Your tone, how you sound.
Exactly, how you come across, which is huge, right? If you're learning, especially for, say, professional reasons, just being grammatically correct isn't enough.
Yeah.
You need to sound confident or polite or whatever the situation needs. Think about a job interview simulation, getting feedback on whether you sounded competent, not just whether you use the right verb tense.
Wow, okay.
That kind of detailed, instant feedback on something so subtle. That's the real value here for someone serious about self-study.
Yeah, I can see that. That consistency, getting that feedback every single time you practice. A human tutor just can't replicate that sheer volume. And the source seems to agree. They found it valuable.
They did. They considered it, legit and genuinely useful, especially for learners who are maybe intermediate or advanced and really want that daily focused practice.
Okay, but there's always a but, isn't there?
Yeah.
We need the reality check. If the big sell is this realistic, human-like conversation, but then the source also mentions limitations, like does it actually feel real? If it feels robotic, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose?
That's the critical question, absolutely. The reviewer did note that, yeah, while the AI is smart contextually, the responses can sometimes feel a bit robotic.
Robotic how? Like slow or repetitive?
Maybe a bit of both. Latency sometimes, or perhaps phrasing that sounds a little too pre-programmed. It breaks that illusion of talking to a real person. So the verdict was something like impressive, but not perfect. It's good, it's helpful, but it doesn't completely replicate practicing with a human.
Mhm.
And, that gap matters for picking up those really subtle social cues. And the source was careful to manage expectations here. They explicitly said it's a tool, not magic.
Right.
You can't just download it and expect miracles overnight. It's like having a really fancy treadmill. It helps you train consistently, gives you data, but it's not a personal coach who understands your specific quirks or pushes you in quite the same way.
That's a good analogy. So it's not about replacing humans entirely. But the takeaway seems to be that for the specific job of improving speaking skills, getting lots of practice in targeted situations, getting that instant correction on pronunciation, and, crucially, tone, it's way ahead of older apps.
Exactly. It's a significant upgrade for self-study arsenals. And connecting it back to the bigger picture, the real power here is that consistency and the specialized feedback. Getting notes on your tone from an app whenever you want. That used to be something you'd only get from an expensive tutor, and maybe not even consistently. It shifts practice from just repetition to actively refining your performance.
So let's bring it back to you, the listener. What does this all mean for your own language journey? If AI like this can now instantly correct your tone, your pronunciation, your grammar for very specific high-stakes situations like nailing that job interview or giving a presentation, well, what's left for human teachers? Where should they focus their energy, that unique human touch, that tension between the AI's instant feedback and the deeper human context? And that's definitely something to mull over next time you practice.